Okay, so I wanted to do this as a part 2. My cat in the background. I wanted to kind of talk about the last 3 days. I've done a lot of exposure sessions, and well, like not really like with my psychologist, but just by myself. And I got a lot of requests to talk about them. On Friday, I went into a drugstore and I bought makeup wedges, like makeup sponges to apply makeup. I went in by myself, nobody in the car, nobody waiting for me. Just went in and stood in line and the whole thing by myself, which was a huge step for me because I always felt the need to have somebody with me. And then later that night, I went to one of the most popular and like crowded bars in my town. Also a town that I know a lot of people that I don't care to see hang out at. I had this fear that if I went and I panicked, people, like, I would give them, it was like me handing them like satisfaction on a silver platter to like know that I was still I still wasn't doing well, which now I know I don't really have to worry about, but it's just an OCD thought. We went and we drank and we ran into people and had a really good time, actually, so it was a lot of fun. And we also went out to eat at like 2 a.m, which like it was like a full restaurant. There's just a lot of people, and it was just us two, like, you know, my boyfriend and I went together, but there's a lot of people in there, and I always had a real problem with restaurants because once you're there, you're kind of stuck. You gotta stay, order your food, you gotta wait, gotta eat, wait for the check, and it's a long process, so I always hated that process, and was terrified by it. The next day, my friend called me to tell me that she was having some guy troubles and that, you know, she wanted to go out, and so I was like, you know, I went to this bar last night, I think you'd really like it, and, you know, would you want to go? And I was like, you know, I don't know, I was like nervous because like usually adding somebody else to the mix makes me more nervous because I feel like I could ruin my night, but if I like invite somebody and then I want to leave right away, like I'll be ruining their night too. But I decided to do it anyway, and she said yeah, and we went. Drank more than I planned on, which is good for my exposure because I had this like fear that if I was drunk or high or, you know, whatever, and I don't smoke, but like now I don't smoke now, but I drink every once in a while, I guess, but yeah, like, you know, I had this fear that like if I wasn't sober, I wouldn't be able to handle myself or control myself as well as I could if I was sober. But yeah, we drank and we danced and drank more than I wanted to, and, you know, it was a fun night. And then today I went to the mall with that same friend. I went to a mall that there's like 3 malls that are closer than that mall, but I went to a mall like 30 minutes away, and I went without my boyfriend, who is usually like, I could go anywhere and usually feel pretty like safe. Well, I mean, before I couldn't even leave the house. I could only go to the gas station, the liquor store, and like my boyfriend's house. Other than that, like, no. I was panicking. But now, like, at this point in my recovery, I feel like I can go almost anywhere as long as I have somebody, or as long as I have him, mostly. Anybody else triggers anxiety. But going today, I was definitely nervous, and through all these occasions, I definitely had panic attacks. I was definitely nervous. I definitely, like, would be fine, and then had, like, a spike of anxiety and depersonalization, like, whatever you can fucking think of, I had them. OCD thoughts, everything. But I got through it. And today I walked around and I shopped and I got coffee and I sat and had coffee with my friend. My God. You know, I sat and I had like a normal like girls' day out, which is fucking insane because I haven't had that in so long, and it makes my eyes water like think about it, because it's like I don't know, like, to say that, like, liberating is, I don't know, like, even liberation is, and freedom, like, doesn't describe the way that it feels when you're agoraphobic, and then you realize that, like, you're doing things that, like, that before, like, just the thought of it was paralyzing. Like, the thought of it would have paralyzed me before I got through my bedroom door, you know, like, it's really an intense process. Like, recovery is a very intense process. It's emotional. It's fucking insane, is what it is. I cannot believe that I was walking around a mall 30 minutes away from my house. My boyfriend was at work. My brother and him have a business. They were off at work doing jobs. And I was with somebody who, like, yes, I'm close to, yes, she knows about my anxiety and whatever, but, like, the last time for the last over a year that we've hung out, since my anxiety got unmanageable this last year, because before I could hang out with people without, like, Nick, but it was just, I couldn't really go anywhere. I didn't want to go out anywhere public unless it was, like, a park where there was nobody. Like, I didn't want, even then I would have a lot of anxiety, but as long, like, didn't want crowds of people. And you know, it was a year, so since last time her and I hung out and had, like, some girl time, and it's fucking insane. It really is. And I just, it's like, as far as the questions, everybody keeps saying, you know, like, what advice do you have? Like, the only advice I can give anybody, I repeat myself every time, but the only advice I can give is to push as hard as you can. You have to be consistent. A cat butt. You have to be consistent. You have to push yourself. You have to put yourself in the uncomfortable positions, or you're never gonna get your life back. Like, I'm sorry, like, medications, yes, might work for somebody, but I'm still a very firm believer in, like, in the fact that, like, eventually you're probably gonna want to be off of them. And I'm not a therapist, but I was on medication, and Effexor is also prescribed for people with OCD. Like, it didn't help me. When I got off, I was in a very bad situation. The week that I got off, my last pill was probably on a Thursday. By that Sunday, I was in fetal position. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's bad that anybody wants to take medication. It does help some people, and I understand that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to, like, sit around and recover. I get it, but I feel like if you do, you should take advantage of it. You know, a lot of people I get a lot of people saying, I tried medications, I got hooked. I tried medications, they're not working. I took medications, they're making me worse. There's just so many risks with medication, and it's not even about medication. Like, I'm just saying, like, the only advice I can ever give you guys that, like, means anything. I don't know, the advice that it's golden advice. I swear to God. Like, I've tried so many different things. I tried so many different approaches to get better, and I didn't. And the only way that I got better was doing exposure therapy. And it's insane. It really is. It's insane to have people that, like, knew my situation, and, like, to be out and, like, see them at a market, or see them at a bar, or see them, you know, at a restaurant, and them just to be like, wow, like, you know, congratulations, you know, that's, you know. And it's like people that just know, like, people that know me, like, know my situation, to see them just be proud of me. It's insane. And you know, I don't know, I just feel like telling people to do it all the time, it's not enough. But you know, most of you guys live far. Like, I would take you by the hand and do these sessions with you, and we could panic together, and then we could get through it together, and I would if I could, but, you know, I can't. So I can only tell you guys the same thing: exposure, exposure, exposure. Put yourself out there, put yourself in those risky situations, and I can almost guarantee that you'll be fine. Like, I promise you, you'll be scared, you'll be uncomfortable, you'll be nervous, nauseous, you might feel like you're going crazy, I get it, yeah, but you'll be fine. You'll walk away from that situation and you'll be fine. Panic disorder and OCD, like, it's not going to kill you, it's just, it feels like it will, and I was convinced of the same thing a lot of you guys are. So yeah, last, I guess the question I'm getting, let's see, I was getting a lot of questions about what I hope to accomplish with the OCD support blog. With the OCD support group. I just really want, like, that extra motivation. I want to meet people, and I want to get the experience. I'm going to be a psychologist, so I want to specialize in OCD and in anxiety disorders. So I hope to get some experience from that. And I got another question, some other questions about what kind of goes through my mind now, like, instead of, like, panicking, like, oh my god, I'm gonna go crazy. So I get the same thoughts, it's just a lot easier for me to identify them. That's what exposure does. It teaches you, like, it's almost like training. If you're training for, whatever, if you're training for running and you're training for whatever, like, once you've done it a million times, it becomes cake. You can, I don't know, I guess that was kind of a silly analogy because I kind of lost it, but it, like, really helps you to identify those thoughts right away. Like, you can I'll start to panic, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, wait, that's just an OCD thought, or, like, I'll get a random thought like, oh, sharp objects, or whatever, and I could start to panic, and then I'm like, wait, it's just an OCD thought, it's fine, and I can move forward. And I'm not saying that I don't still panic, I don't still get stuck, I most definitely do, but it's a lot less difficult, and it's a lot less often. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video, but anybody who, I got some requests to talk about, like, because I've been talking a lot about, like, my personal growth and how I've been changing a lot, and I don't know how to explain it, but I guess when you go through certain things, you just start to have, I don't know, like, just something's happening internally that I'm just changing, and I'm, like, more awake, and I know it has a lot to do with recovery because there's other things to pay attention to now, or I can pay attention to other things now. So somebody asked me to do that, and some people also asked me to talk about relationships more when you have mental disorders or present in relationships. And I'm not really an expert, but I guess I'll do what I can. If anybody else has any requests, just let me know. And I hope everybody's doing really well in their recovery. Feel free to contact me and ask me any questions. I don't care what time, and I don't care how silly you think they are. I've probably asked the same question. So yeah, take care.